Donald Trump continued his Middle East tour, paying homage to the countries that are bribing him off. He started with Saudi Arabia. Today he was in Qatar, who's buying him a $400 million 747 gold-plated jet. Donald Trump has been making post after post saying it's just like the Statue of Liberty. Also, when Donald Trump arrived in Qatar, the Qatari emir had a red Cybertruck motorcade bring Donald Trump to the royal palace in order to further allow Elon Musk to grift and have a PR moment. Look, the United States government right now is for sale under Donald Trump as he sells out we the people. Look, and Donald Trump's just bragging about it. Look what he's posting. Trump arrives in Doha and is greeted by the Emir of Qatar. Qatar first, Saudi Arabia first. And then you have all the MAGA Republican media companies and MAGA Republican cabinet members. And they're all like, yeah, this is great. Qatar, Saudi Arabia. By the way, while this is all taking place, Donald Trump has pulled the United States out of the G20 meeting that's set to take place in South Africa. Donald Trump has directed all of the United States agencies to stop immediately doing any work in preparation and planning for the G20. So the United States appears that it will not even be represented there. So it's just going to be Europe and Beijing. I mean, what the hell is even happening right now? At the same time, Donald Trump is allowing 2.7 million Afrikaans from South Africa to migrate to the United States and have a path towards citizenship. Donald Trump signed an executive order allowing the white South African Afrikaans to come into the United States, saying that there's a genocide taking place in South Africa, and then moving out the migrants from Cuba, Venezuela, and other Latino migrants. So it seems like Donald Trump's replacing one group with the other. I think there's a name for that. Donald Trump here also is posting weird memes all day, bragging about his bribes. It's a photo of him and the Saudi Arabian prince, MBS, the return of the GOAT. America is respected. Again, I think it's posts like this that show why America is not respected right now and is the laughingstock for the entire world right now. Our allies are horrified to the extent they're even allies anymore. Our enemies are salivating over the utter weakness and the just utter buffoonery by this Trump regime. Donald Trump posts a photo of the Statue of Liberty with a sign around it that says gift from a foreign nation. Well, I wonder if there's a distinction between the Statue of Liberty, Donald Trump, and you receiving a 747 gold-plated jet, which then becomes part of your purported hypothetical presidential library for you to fly around. I wonder what the difference between those things are right there. Donald Trump also posted this photo of himself that says, presidents come and go, but there will never be anybody like him again. I just want you to think about the malignant narcissism dripping in this post right here. And then Donald Trump's own post says the greatest president ever. Do y'all remember when he took that photo at the Kennedy Center right there? It was an empty Kennedy Center. Remember what I was telling you he was going to do? I said, this is what he does. He goes in front of fake crowds because he can never actually get applause at the Kennedy Center. And he takes a photo. He was going for it. I said to you exactly what he was going to be doing. The Mussolini photo op where he's on the balcony with his hands up because he can't actually get that to happen in real life. So he staged it. Because everything with this guy is a stage phony fraud. And there he did it at the Kennedy Center. Let me just be very clear who Donald Trump is. He is a fraud. He is a felon. He is a criminal. He is a sexual abuser. And he's now posting things like accountability is coming. Doge has exposed our government corruption beyond anyone could imagine. Let's be clear. First off, unfortunately, you're the government now. Doge has exposed absolutely nothing. There's more federal spending now in 2025 2025 month over month than there was in 2024. And in fact, Doge is going to add trillions of dollars to our deficit right now because we're not going to be able to collect tax revenue efficiently. You've gutted critical positions across all agencies. You've fired veterans and defamed them. You've done everything from get rid of, critical workers at the FAA to critical workers in our national parks to critical workers who work in health and human services. Across the board, you've gutted that. And by the way, gutted FEMA. What's going to happen when the hurricanes hit and there's no apparatus for FEMA? And you fired a MAGA guy who was leading FEMA because he said that he thinks FEMA should exist. More posts from Donald Trump, claiming that this gift is a great gift for America, getting gold-plated 747 jets. Donald Trump, just to show you what a fraud and phony he is, then he has to announce a made-up deal today with Qatar. So this is what they post. Fact sheet, which is obviously never a fact when Donald Trump posted. Fact sheet. Trump secures historic $1.2 trillion economic commitment in Qatar. Okay, really? A $1.2 trillion economic commitment in Qatar? I want you all after this video to Google what is the annual GDP of Qatar. Just Google find out what the annual GDP, and you'll see how stupid Donald Trump thinks his supporters are, because the annual GDP of all of Qatar is about $200 billion. So Donald Trump is saying he's securing an economic investment that's basically 6 times the entire GDP of all of Qatar. And this is what all these Middle East nations do, right? They rely on bribes and lies and fraud from these royal families. And they know how easy it is to play Donald Trump. It's why Trump loves them. Just make up fake, phony deals, announce $1.2 trillion, say, look, I'm making America great again. And this is why Donald Trump despises democracies across the world. Why does Donald Trump attack Canada? Why does Donald Trump attack Europe? Why does Donald Trump attack countries like that? Countries in Europe? Because Donald Trump hates the idea of democracies where he can't be bribed or bought off. I mean, again, look at what Donald Trump's doing with Syria right now, right? The leader of Syria said, wow, all I got to do is tell Donald Trump I'm going to buy him a hotel and build a Trump Tower in Damascus. Okay, let's do that. Then they'll take the sanctions off of Syria. So the Syrian leader says he's going to build a Trump Tower in Syria. Trump removes the sanctions from Syria and says he's going to meet with the leader of Syria. And by the way, Donald Trump's appearances in the Middle East, in addition to the fact that it clearly shows Trump in cognitive decline as well, just the way he speaks about the leaders of these countries is so weird. Like the leader of Syria, Donald Trump, what Donald Trump likes about him is he says he's handsome. And Donald Trump's like, look, this guy's young and he's attractive. He's hot. I like that he's a young, attractive, hot guy. Like he's a handsome man. That's what Donald Trump says. That's Donald Trump's view of the leader of Syria is that he's an attractive man. Here, play this clip.
How did you find the Syrian president?
Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. Strong pass. Very strong pass fighter.
Does that worry you?
But he's got a real shot at pulling it together. I spoke with President Erdogan, who I'm very friendly with him. He feels he's got a shot at doing a good job. It's a torn up country.
Do you think Syria will join the Abraham Accords?
Yeah, but I think they have to get themselves straightened out. I told him, I hope you're going to join when it's straightened out. He said yes. But they have a lot of work to do.
Okay. And then, by the way, Trump, just so you see, that's not like an isolated incident. You're not like, Ben, why are you're just cherry picking clips. Okay. Well, in Qatar, Donald Trump sitting next to the emir, and then Donald Trump talks about how he left Saudi Arabia where he met with MBS. By the way, MBS in Saudi Arabia put a blockade on Qatar and basically was about to conquer Qatar and destroy the entire nation during the first Trump administration until Qatar, through its own kind of sovereign wealth fund and intermediary, invested in Jared Kushner's building and saved it from going bankruptcy. And then a blockade from Saudi Arabia was removed. So Trump's like, Qatar and Saudi Arabia, you like each other, right? You like MBS because you're both handsome men. You're both really attractive guys. And because you're handsome and attractive, you're hot, you like each other. I mean, this is what he's talking about. What are we talking about here? Again, I could say for the 100th time, could you imagine if former President Biden, but you get the point. Play this clip.
We came from Saudi Arabia, where we have another great man over there that's a friend of yours. And you two guys get along so well and like each other. You sort of remind me a little bit of each other, if you want to know the truth. They're both tall, handsome guys that happen to be very smart. But he's also a very special guy, and it's good to see all the relationships forming in the Middle East, because the Middle East is really being talked about all over the world, and we're having a lot to do with it. We're helping a lot, but they're doing a tremendous job. So I just want to thank everybody very much for being here. I want to thank the media. The media has been very fair, actually, and it's a great honor to be with you. This is, you take a look at this room. This room is the real deal. That's called white marble. It's very hard to buy. Believe me, I know very well, because you try to buy it, you can't buy it. And you just take a look at what you have here. It's been incredible what you've been able to build as a nation.
Now, as Carl Quintanilla reports, and this is from a Washington Post report, since the inauguration of January 20th, the Trump administration officials have announced new or revised tariff and trade policies more than 50 times, potentially 55 times or even more. So I just want you to think about it. Since January 20th, America's trade policy has changed about 50 to 55 times. What basically every other day, there is a new tariff and trade policy. What kind of message do you think that sends to the world? It sends the kind of message where there are lots of people believing that the 10-year Treasury yield is going to rise close to 5%, which is not good. The dollar is getting weaker and weaker. The brand that is the United States of America has been irreparably harmed, and the rest of the world recognizes it as well. And no one even takes the United States or Trump as a serious actor anymore. His word is worth shit. And it should have been before, because he's a fraud, a felon, a convicted felon, a sexual abuser, but it's clearly permeated the rest of the world now. Even Goldman Sachs uses the term more frequently now. It's global diversification thesis is what they call it. But a global diversification thesis basically means the United States can't be trusted anymore because of the Trump regime. Let me just share with you these two final clips that I think summarize this all. Here's Donald Trump landing in Qatar. And while he's landing, he says, "Why wouldn't I accept gifts from Qatar? Why would I not accept this gift? Because it's illegal, Donald. Because it's a bribe, Donald." Here, play this clip.
These planes, the plane that you're on right now is almost 40 years old. And when you land and you see Saudi Arabia and you see UAE and you see Qatar and you see all these, and they have these brand new Boeing 747s mostly, and you see ours next to it. This is like a totally different plane. It's much smaller. It's much less impressive as it is. And, you know, we're the United States of America. I believe that we should have the most impressive plane. So anyway, so they said to me, we would like to, in effect, we would like to make a gift. You've done so many things. And we'd like to make a gift to the Defense Department, which is where it's going. And I said, well, that's nice. Now, some people say, oh, you shouldn't accept gifts for the country. My attitude is, why wouldn't I accept a gift? We're giving to everybody else. Why wouldn't I accept a gift? Because it's going to be a couple of years, I think, before the Boeings are finished.
And then to show you the dystopian nature of this regime, Kristi Noem, dog killer, Homeland Security Secretary, testified today before the House of Representatives. Democratic Congress member Eric Swalwell had a brilliant cross-exam of Kristi Noem, where he just asked her, he said, can you just admit that the photo of Abrego Garcia's hands where it says MS-13 on it, that was Photoshopped, that's not real. I'll show it to you. It's literally doctored. Can you just admit that? And she refuses to admit that. Why? Because delusional Donald Trump says that it's real and that it actually says MS-13 when it doesn't. So she refuses to just admit the objective reality.
You agree, though, that this is doctored. Is that right? the same protocols that are
Madam
applied
Secretary,
to every
I want you to have
individual with
credibility,
law
and
enforcement.
I want you to be taken seriously. Is this doctored or is it not
Sir,
doctored?
I am taken quite seriously
Is it
because
doctored
I approach
or
my
not
job
doctored?
with the importance that the president has given me to do
I understand.
my job.
Is it doctored or not
One thing
doctored?
that's important to remember is that every single time a case is built,
Madam
against
Secretary, I have a
individuals
7-year-old,
in
a
the same
6-year-old, and a
protocols.
3-year-old. I have a bullshit detector. I'm just asking you, is this doctored or not doctored?
Sir, the protocols in the case built against
Can you
Diego
answer the
Garcia
question?
were exactly the same.
Madam
I
Secretary,
don't have
you're-
any knowledge as to that photo you're pointing to.
Okay, can you
I
take her?
don't, sir.
Can you show her the photo? Walk her the photo down there. No, that one. Please take a look at this photo. It was tweeted by the president on April 21. It's been hanging out there for about a month.
So what is your point?
And I think that sums up everything because, first off, imagine any other administration that would be impeachable, right? She lied under oath. Donald Trump's, insane. I don't want to let that help him not be held accountable, but let's observe what's happening, right? That would be the biggest story ever. But in the Trump world, unless you're watching the MeidasTouch network, that's a blip. But that's why people are pissed. That's why people are rising up. That's why we saw what we saw in the Omaha, Nebraska mayor elections race, where the longest serving Republican incumbent mayor in the nation, Mayor Stothert, lost her race by about 7 to 8 points to a Democratic candidate, Mayor-elect Ewing. She was in the mayor for 12 years and she won in 2021, that the mayor. She went full MAGA and she lost, but before that, 2021, she was kind of more moderate, I guess. She won by massive amounts in 2021, and now she lost by 7, a 20-point swing for the longest serving incumbent Republican mayor in the United States in Omaha, Nebraska. Because people are pissed. They're seeing this. I know it's not being reflected in the media, but it's being reflected in the growth of the MeidasTouch network. We see what's happening. Anyway, let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.